I'm Aaron Maté, sitting in for Jimmy Dore, here with Misha Pollan, and special guest, Malcolm Fleschner, producer of The Jimmy Dore Show. Hello, Malcolm.
Aaron, I'm glad to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, even though I know you don't want to. I really appreciate it.
Why would you suggest it?
So it's been a tough time over at CNN. Remember this happened? CNN Plus, the new digital streaming service put out by CNN, lasted just a couple of weeks after it started. They spent millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars getting this thing going, promoting it. Nobody wanted to watch it, because why would you want to watch CNN Plus when no one's already watching CNN normal? So yeah, that wasn't a surprise. And then now more recently, profits slump at CNN as ratings plummet. So it's been a tough time at CNN. And here's more. CNN just suffered its worst ratings week in 9 years. And someone who's been involved in the slump is the guy in the middle. His name is Don Lemon. He had a show in primetime on CNN. He got moved to the morning, but it's not going so well for Don Lemon.
You see, look at that picture. He's a professional broadcaster, and even he has a forced smile. Like he can't even muster a legitimate smile because he knows what's coming.
He is not happy to be on CNN this morning, and he was right, because he just had this debacle where he commented on. Well, let's hear what he said. He was commenting on Nikki Haley, the former governor of South Carolina, who's entering the presidential race on the Republican side. And this is what Don Lemon said.
This whole talk about age makes me uncomfortable. I think it's the wrong road to go down. She says people, politicians or something are not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s.
What are you talking? Wait.
That's not according to me.
Prime for what?
It depends. I mean, it's just like prime. If you look it up, if you Google when is a woman in her prime, it'll say 20s, 30s, and 40s. I don't necessarily.
40s. Oh, I got another.
I'm not saying
decade.
I agree with that. So I think she has to be careful about saying that politicians aren't in their prime.
We need to qualify. Are you talking about prime for like childbearing, or are you talking about prime for being president?
What the facts are. Google it. Everybody at home. When is a woman in her prime? It says 20s, 30s, and 40s. And I'm just saying Nikki Haley should be careful about saying that politicians are not in their prime and they need to be in their prime when they serve, because she wouldn't be in her prime according to Google or whatever it is.
So here's from TMZ. CNN's Don Lemon is trending for saying women like Nikki Haley are well beyond their prime years, a comment that irked at least one of his co-hosts and many more people online. The CNN crew was reacting to Haley's Wednesday speech where she called for mandatory mental competency tests for politicians over the age of 75. It's a clear shot at President Biden and even her Republican rival Donald Trump. And Lemon saw an opening to take a shot at Haley herself. Important to note that Haley did not use the word prime when calling for the competency testing. And whether or not you agree with her, there's a clear difference, generally speaking, between people in their 50s and 80s, which really was her point. Don Lemon's remark shot him to the top of Twitter's trending news and also drew a quick response from Haley, who said, liberals can't stand the idea of having competency tests for older politicians to make sure they can do their job. By the way, it's always the liberals who are the most sexist. And here's more, just making headlines everywhere. And where CNN's chairman called Lemon's remarks unacceptable and unfair. And Don Lemon, here's more from TMZ. Don Lemon jumped on a CNN staff call Friday morning to apologize for his sexist on-air comment that women are not in their prime after their 40s, but it did not go over very well. And here is Brian Stelter, former CNN host, still covering for his former bosses. He says Don has the day off. In case anyone's wondering, Don Lemon really was scheduled to be off the air today. He even talked about it on the show yesterday. So yes, Brian Stelter wants us to believe that Don Lemon just taking a normal day off, not because he set off this national firestorm with a sexist comment. And here is the IT guy on Twitter. It looks like Don Lemon was voluntold to let a couple of women in their prime do his show this morning. Here's Don Lemon's apology. Or he said, it's not an apology. This is a statement. He said, the reference I made to a woman's prime this morning was inartful and irrelevant, As colleagues and loved ones have pointed out, and I regret it, a woman's age doesn't define her either personally or professionally. I have countless women in my life who prove that every day. Notice how he's not just issuing a straight up apology and he's not even retracting what he said. He's saying it was inartful and irrelevant. He's not saying it was wrong. He's so devoted to this idea that a woman is only in her prime if she's, 40 and below.
He could have said it better.
He could have said the woman's in her prime at that age better. Yeah. It wasn't artful the way he said it. That's his point here. Here is Shannon Watts. Not inartful, sexist, and ageist. Call it what it is. Cassie Dillon says, this isn't an apology, and how about directing this to the woman you insulted? Like, does he have any PR people? Are they maybe telling him, like, just apologize, just retract it, apologize? How hard is that? They're not doing their job very well. And here's more of Don Lemon. This is not his first dust up with his co-hosts. Here he is, very angry at an interview that referenced Hunter Biden's laptop.
All right. Thank you. That's going to be it. That's the time that we're in, where facts are sort of flexible.
That's why we got Caitlin Collins on the Hill, fact-checking in real time. It was a great interview. Citing
incredible sources, like citing the New York Post as a credible source and saying that facts are...
So he's mad here that an interview was done with a member of Congress who was citing the fact that the New York Post got censored when they did a story about Hunter Biden's laptop. And a bunch of intelligence officials made the claim that all this was a Russian influence operation, and dupes like Don Lemon, because they've been trained to just parrot whatever intelligence officials said, went along with that and ignored the Hunter Biden laptop story. And now, even though that's all come out, no one takes that claim seriously anymore, that the laptop was a Russian operation. Don Lemon's still mad at people who try to point that out. And look how mad he is. He won't even let the show go to commercial because he's so upset at this being discussed factually.
It's just, I can't believe that we're here.
Caitlin, that was a great interview. All right, moving on.
Anyway, well, not moving on, because listen, that's a big issue when it comes to the American. Hold on, please, with the music.
Hold on with the music. Hold on with the music. I got more to say.
He's getting played off like it's the Oscars.
Yeah.
He really should have taken that cue and let the music play.
I think I want to credit Don Lemon for, he's there to shoot down the fake news like it's a Chinese spy balloon, and we're not giving him credit. And he's also, what else he's doing, Aaron, which I want to credit him for? He's bringing the left and the right together, because if there's one thing besides, well, there's not a lot that we agree on, the left and the right these days, but thinking that Don Lemon is incompetent and terrible at his job is something that I see both the left and the right. So that's the real Red-Brown Alliance, I think, uniting against Don Lemon. But the other thing is that he knows that CNN is not doing well, and he knows that people aren't tuning into CNN to watch them report the news, and he's doing something about it. He's saying, hey, what if we are the news? What if I say enough stupid things that people start tuning into CNN just to get angry at me? He's taking one for the team, and no one's crediting him.
Don Lemon, martyr for CNN.
The great thing is now, because he says do a Google search for when is a woman in her prime. And now if you do a Google search of when is a woman in her prime, well, it's all about what a dimwit Don Lemon is. So I encourage everyone to Google when is a woman in her prime and Don Lemon, because Don Lemon said to. So go ahead.
Doing live stand-up comedy in Tempe, Palm Springs, Milwaukee, Nashville, Northampton, Massachusetts, Syracuse, Cohoes, New York, and Hartford, Connecticut. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets and become a premium member. Get access to all our content.